Our new foe who's got a camera in my face right now.
I'ma make a toast cause I'm still alive. No big.
That's who you gotta be.
I'm coming in.
Above doing any job.
So
Man,
what about your support system?
Dude, no, I gotta tell you this part. 6 years ago, I was in Chick-fil-A cleaning a toilet. That was my job. Okay? So once you figure out where you want to be, you just, one thing leads to the next, leads to the next, leads to the next. You just learn. You just grow. You have it inside of you and you think, well, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do a video. Maybe I should go talk to schools. Maybe I should talk to students. I've always felt like I should talk to students and I should tell people what I've learned. You know how many talks I've done for, like, I showed up and I paid to go there? Like, it wasn't them paying me to go there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And you have to work on it. Because, like, you got to put out content. You know how many times it took to actually get okay at it? Right? You have to keep putting in the work. And I was still working 40, 50 hours doing, like, my real job. And I was still learning how to figure out the website. And I was still learning how to figure out, like, email marketing, right? And I was still trying to figure out how to do Instagram marketing and Facebook marketing and how do we get stuff out so that people will actually see it. Because you can have a great video, but if nobody watches it, does it even matter? Nope. It doesn't even matter. Right? So that's part of how we built the business. The first, you know what? I'll tell you the first thing. You asked, what was the first step? This is the first step in how we got to where we are today. I went to work with an organization that taught me how to do something called peer-to-peer mentoring. I lived in Dyersburg, Tennessee at the time. You know where Dyersburg is? Mm-hmm. It's like, what, hour and a half away?
Yeah.
They have Dyer State there, the college there. I went to work with an organization when we lived in Dyersburg. And I learned how to do what's called peer-to-peer mentoring. And then not only did I learn it, like, we became pretty good and we became really successful, but I was still working for somebody. So it was a grant funded thing, money ran out, we left. Like, I moved to Hilton Head, South Carolina for a different job. So I'm still learning, I'm still experimenting, I'm still figuring out, like, this thing called positive youth development and peer-to-peer mentoring and whatever. And I'm thinking, man, this is great, I need to do this. When I went to work for Chick-fil-A, I was doing marketing. I went to work doing marketing at Chick-fil-A because I got pretty good at social and stuff like that and creating content, you know, like that's
you get famous off social media.
Right. Do what?
I said you can get famous off social media.
You can if you know how. So you have to know how. It's not just putting stuff up and saying, I hope people see you. You got to know how to get good. You got to know when to post, what to post, who to post to, what hashtags to use, how many hashtags to use. Like, when's the best, if you're going to boost something, like, when's the best time to do that? Like, how do you attract influencers, like people with a lot of followers, so that they can share your stuff, so that you don't have to pay to have your stuff shared? You know what I'm saying? So, went to work for Chick-fil-A. And then one of my things going in was, I told the owner of the store, I worked at one store, I told the owner at the store, his name's Randy, and I said, Randy, I want to come to work for you, but I want to experiment doing peer-to-peer mentoring at this one school. Would you help support that as your, like, community outreach for the store? Because y'all know Chick-fil-A does community outreach, right? And so Randy was like, all right, I'll support you. I'll support you. We'll try it out. We'll see how it goes. Before that school ever agreed to let me come in and figure out how to do peer-to-peer mentoring, we were there 2 days ago, that same school that started at 6 years ago. Before, I sent out 138 emails to principals at different schools in my area. I got one response. The principal's name's Jimmy Collins. He's at the school I was at Wednesday. That one school has now been over 30, and we just landed that $4.5 million grant, and it blew up. They say it takes 15 years to become an overnight success. You have to put in the reps. You have to commit the hours. Dude, I had no idea how to do payroll. I know how to do payroll now. I had no idea how to do spreadsheet or, like, Excel or, like, QuickBooks or any of that. You gotta know how to keep your money right. Like, IRS still, you have to pay taxes even as a nonprofit, right? Like state and stuff on your employees. And you know how like you get a paycheck for going to work at a job? I'm gonna tell you another thing. You get a paycheck, you know how you pay taxes out of your own pay. But you know what? We did it. And that curriculum has become now a thing that all that money that I talked about we won, we're using part of that curriculum that I wrote literally on the way to that school working for free. We use part of that curriculum for what we just won. Some things that you do in the beginning, they're going to stay for you for a while because it is legit. And some things you're going to have to be willing to be humble. You're going to have to be willing to be malleable like clay. You're going to have to be willing to listen to people that you don't want to listen to. You're going to have to be willing to do all of that so that you can figure out how to grow and to succeed. I'm telling you, you're going to have to do that. Whatever my wife says, I listen to her. I don't always agree with her. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is that helpful? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Anybody else got something? I'll try not to talk.